So this is pretty much all set to go when it comes to our final green screen edit. So the question is now, how exactly are we going to remove this green screen color? So the tool that we're going to be using is provided by Premiere Pro. It's called the Ultra Key. Okay, so if I go, now how do you find this? Remember, you have this window here where you see all your imported files. Okay, here, if you just click on this arrow icon, okay, what you'll see is that you will see this option which says effects. So if I click on it, there are a host of different effects, audio effects, video effects, but we are interested in something which will be found under the video effects folder. Okay, so here just look for keying. So if you see this, if you open this up, this also has a lot of different ways to adjust or select this green color. That means there are different key functions here. So which one is the best? The best out of all these is Ultra Key. Ultra Key is the easiest to work with to remove the green screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Ultra Key, drag it onto this video on the timeline. Okay, so just drag it, and what you're going to see is it gets added. The moment I leave my mouse, I've dropped it here, it gets added to these properties of the video. And how you can verify that is, remember this effects controls, this window that we have here, where we were doing that scaling, moving thing. Whatever you do here is changing the properties or the default properties of this video. Okay, so now you'll see if I just go down, you can see that Ultra Key has come here. Okay, that's because we just dropped this into this. Now, how exactly does Ultra Key work? Let's see that. All right, so now for the most important part, so pay full attention. Okay, we've opened up Ultra Key, and there are a lot of settings here. We will be going through some of them, but the first thing that I want you to see is this setting called as key color. Okay, so if I select this, now what this means is there's an eyedropper here, right? So I can select this eyedropper, I can select any color here. So what Premiere Pro is telling me is, okay, fine, we are all ready to remove this green screen, but for that, Kush, you have to tell me where exactly in this video is that green color that you want to remove. What should I pick? This shirt, this, what do you want to remove, right? So in this case, for example, a lot of people, for example, might wear green clothes, for example, if they want to make their body invisible, if they need that for a special effect, like showing some magic trick, showing like an invisible person or something like that. And in those cases, people can wear the green suit. But in our case, we're doing something very simple, right? The green screen is on the backdrop, right? So we'll select somewhere on the backdrop. Now, this is the tricky part, okay? Because we are working with a minimal budget setup, okay, let me first show you what happens when I click somewhere. So let's say I select this green color. Now, what do you see? It just immediately becomes blackish and grayish. What does this mean? This just means that whichever part right now is appearing to be fully opaque black, like this part here, this curvy part, it means this has been fully deleted. So the moment you select this green color, it's basically this black part is telling us, Premiere Pro is telling us, okay, we have removed this. Okay, it's called masking, but I don't want to use such a technical term. Just think it's deleted it. Now, if I were to put any background under this video, okay, it will start to reflect here. Let me just show you before I move on. So if I just slightly close this up, okay, let me just add a background image here, okay? And in order to do that, now, remember, the background image, what do you think? Where should it come? Should it come under the video or should it come over the video, right? Obviously, because there's going to be a background, it has to come under the video. But right now, if you see, we don't have any space between this track and the audio track. That means there's nothing in between. So how can we add something under it? Well, all you do is select this, right click and click on unlink. Okay, this unlinks this video from the audio. And then what you can do is you can actually move this video file separately anywhere. Okay, so for example, here in this case, what I'll do is just simply move it up to the next track like this. Now we have one track that is empty and we can actually put our image, and I've got the image. So I'm going to again import it. So I'm going to press Control or Command I, and let's use this yellow background so that things will be very prominent for us. Okay, click on this and just drag it onto this track. Okay, and you can see if I open this, let me just fully drag this so that it covers the entire length of the video. And now you can see. Okay, so if I hide this video, if I press this eye icon, we just have this screen. Okay, if I get it back again visible, now you can see we're not actually seeing the full strength of that color everywhere, only in this part we see, right? That's because if I just hide this yellow color, the background, this is where the full black part is. That means this is the part where the tool, the Ultra Key tool, was 100% able to remove the green color. In the other areas, these grayed out areas, it has been removed, but not fully. Okay, so think of it like maybe 50% somewhere. The more the gray or the whitish part here is, that means it has not been able to identify the green color properly. So that the color that we selected with that eyedropper, the pixel that we selected, was most consistently green in this part. Okay, so that's how basically things work. So our job is to select things in such a way that almost the entire thing here is absolutely pitch black. Because then we know the entire part, this yellow part, will be to its true strength. That's what we want. Okay, right now a bit of that green screen is still visible. That means somewhere here. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me just hide this background for now so that we can see that black look, the key look. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to again click on our video so that we get these things come to life again. So I'm just going to highlight and click on this video here, and we are going to again go to this dropper. Okay, and what we're going to do is, you can see the moment I select the dropper, it again turns back to green. So what we're telling Premiere Pro is, hold on, we selected somewhere here, it's not giving us enough of this black thing. We want to select something else which probably increases the black look. So you can try in different areas. Okay, so let's say I try somewhere here, and you can see this time there's more of black than last time. Okay, at least in this part, right? So you can keep doing this. You can keep on clicking different parts to see where are you getting the maximum possible black look. Okay, that means maximum deletion of the green screen. Okay, you can see that we are always, no matter where we are clicking, we're kind of getting only a small part which is being fully deleted. The rest is kind of staying gray, right? That means not being fully deleted. So the first thing now you can do here is, you can tell Premiere Pro, if you go just above this part where we've been using this eyedropper, there's a thing called setting here, right? Right now set to default. What we can tell Premiere Pro is, listen, Premiere Pro, we are not professional green screen people. Listen, we are people who are working on a very small budget. We don't have the perfect lights. We don't have the perfect light setup. You know what? Can you just increase the strength of this picking of this green thing that you're doing? Can you increase the tolerance a bit? I do not mind on just sacrificing maybe the quality by 1%, but is it possible for you to increase the strength? That's what we're telling Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro says, Kush, no problem. You're on a budget. You know what? Just go to setting, and here instead of default, I give you this setting called aggressive. Aggressive just means it's going to increase the tolerance of the difference in the pixel that you selected with the eyedropper. That means you're basically increasing the range of the pixel that you're selecting, the green pixel. Okay, so if you go to aggressive, what you're going to find is immediately more of this black area comes in. That's because you've increased the tolerance. Okay, so especially when you're doing this on a budget, make sure this setting is set to aggressive before you start on picking these colors. Okay, now you can see no matter where I pick, it'll definitely be better than last time. You can see if I click here also, you can see more of this black area is coming, more of the deletion is coming. Okay, so let's try different areas. Maybe let's try this. You see, this is also pretty decent. We will be able to work with this. Okay, but click everywhere around the body. Okay, don't leave any part, because here's the trick. Here's what you have to understand. We are going to be making some extra changes using these settings here, but if you can get the job done with just a single click, that's always better when it comes to the final quality, because if we do some manipulation here, it comes at the cost of quality, a bit of cost. Okay, so if you can get this to the max just by one click, you should always aim for that. Always remember that, especially in these budget setups. Okay, so I'm going to click, maybe let's say here, still not good enough. Maybe let's try here. Kind of good, but I actually already played around with this, and what I found was, you see this gap here between my arm and my body here, little gap here, the green color. I think this was giving me the maximum blackness here. Can you see that this is almost eliminated everything just by a single click? Now we are getting a bit of gray things here, we are getting a bit of gray things here, and just a bit. Now in these cases, I just wanted to point out one thing. Try to just slightly ignore this part, because when I was shooting this video, remember that I was also shooting the video for the course. Okay, so I was not able to do things absolutely properly. For example, I didn't pay much attention to this part, and there were a lot of folds here. If I was doing things properly, I would have obviously made sure that these wrinkles were straightened out. Okay, so there's a bit of the editing here is also down to the fact that this was shot while I was making a video, so my mind was at two places. Okay, so maybe towards the end, these areas we might face some issues, but don't worry too much about it, because you will obviously pay more attention to that and you won't have these issues in your particular video. But I think this is also decent to work with. Now what we're going to do is, so we tell Premiere Pro this is appearing fine. Let's see how this looks if we just enable this yellow background. It's definitely going to be better than last time. You can see almost. This is actually workable, right? And don't worry about these extremes that you're seeing. You're seeing push, but this light is being seen, the wall is being seen, the clamps are being seen. Don't worry about that. We're actually going to be cropping this later on so that we only are dealing, when it comes to the video, we literally have the area around my body. Okay, so all this will just disappear. Don't worry about that. Our job is to just get this area near my body perfect. That's the only thing you have to remember, not the whole thing. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so now the question is, how can we improve this key even more, even get those little bit of grayed out things away? Okay, so again, I'm just going to hide this so that we don't see the yellow background. It's much easier, first of all, to work with this black look. It's just easier to see. And if you want even a much better look, what you can do is just to see, okay, just to check. Just above this setting that we were using where we selected aggressive, you also see one more setting called as output. Okay, here what you can do is, if I right now is set to composite. Composite means it's kind of taking into account all everything, okay, in the video. But right now, if I set it to alpha channel, just see what happens. It just gives us this black and white look. Now, what we're aiming for here is this part, my outline of my body should ideally be the only thing white in this video. Okay, now there are a couple of white things, but like I said, don't worry about this because we're going to be cropping these parts. So let's just consider this area around my body. Here, what are the things that are white which we don't want? You can see a bit of things here, a bit of things here, a bit of things here, this. Otherwise, you can see it's pretty much fine. You can see the outline of the body, right? Some people only work with the alpha channel. That's fine. I like to work with the composite. I like to actually see how this will look, okay? So now the question is, how can we fine tune this? So you see a couple of options in this ultra key here, right? Matte generation, matte cleanup, spill suppression, color correction. Now, out of all this, mainly one of this, so each one has a lot of options like this, okay? Now, I'm not going to go through each because trust me, I've spent enough time making green screen videos. Yes, they all can help you a bit, but the most important out of this is the first one, okay? So if I just close the first three, the options under matte generation are the most important, okay? And that too, just one or two options. So you can leave transparency. So let me just open this up a bit so that I can see its full. So you can see the first is transparency, okay? So this you really don't have to worry about. This deals with how transparent this keying effect is, okay? So you don't want to mess with that. The second is highlights. You should always try to increase it, decrease it to see if it just, so this actually works with the opacity of the keying only in the bright areas. That's why it's called the highlight. So basically, in simple terms, whichever parts are very bright in your green screen in this, it'll just help the keying, fine-tuning the keying in that particular area, okay, making it more black there. So you can see here, right now by default is set to 10, but just see what happens if I move this around. Okay, you can see if I increase it, this actually does the opposite. That means it's taking away the deletion part. But if I take it down, let's see if it helps us. You can see, right? So initially it was at 10, but the moment I make it to 0, you can see that even those bad-looking things, okay, just open this up a bit, even those bad-looking things just disappear. One quick point I would just like to point out right now is always make sure when you do this, your screen, your laptop screen or your computer screen is absolutely wiped off, okay? Because right now I'm actually seeing something on this part and I thought it's about the keying, but it has just a spot on my laptop, okay? So this is pretty much perfect, okay, as far as our head is concerned. So here I'm going to give you one very, very important tip, okay? And we're going to actually see that in action also. Make as little changes on these as possible, okay? Make as little change on these as possible. The reason for that is if you especially mess around with shadow here, okay, and you have black hair like mine, okay, it's going to mess up things like we're going to see. And I'm going to actually show you why this works, okay? Even the highlights, if you had like, let's say, brighter areas on your body, on your skin, or on your hair, okay? So what I do is I always let these settings initially be at default, okay? So let's come back to the default. I always change them. They are my second step. So what is my first step? The first step that I use is this setting called as pedestal. This is perhaps the setting which all green screen editors use first because what this does is it just overall improves your keying just by one drag of the slider. The more this is, what this does is it basically actually filters out the noise. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the keying noise. Okay, now I don't want to get into the details of that. Just, I like to explain things in a very simple way. You increase this, it's even going to increase the tolerance of the key. That's what you have to understand. So let's just see this in action. By default, it's set to 50. Just see what happens when I take it all the way to 100. Boom. It literally not only took this away, which even the highlights part did last time, but even removed so much from here. Okay, so if I just press undo, you can see this. Boom. The moment I take this to 100, it is fantastic. Almost gives us a perfect key around our body. It's literally black, right? Now, why do people like to use this as the first step? Okay, the reason for this is this doesn't really cause any problems in the quality of the body itself. Okay, like you're going to see later on, if I were to mess around with shadows, yes, I can kind of get a similar look, but it comes at the cost of just introducing some artifacts on the body. Here, there's almost no loss of quality. That's what you have to understand. Okay, so first step will always be to, if required, okay, that too, if required, always increase the pedestal and see if you can get something like this. Okay, now you can see this is pretty much good to go, right? We don't have any issues here. So now I don't have to change the highlight. Okay, only issue, and that is because of my mistake, remember, because I did not straighten this out properly. That is kind of my mistake, but let's even try to see if I can correct this using the shadow slider. Okay, so let's see. Right now it's set to 55. And just see, boom, you can see I can get definitely a perfect key if I decrease the shadow opacity for the keying here by reducing this, okay? But the problem is now, because I've got black here, if I just zoom into it, okay? Just kind of focus here, and let me just run this video. You see that we start to get this really bad effect, because what has happened is, it has even reduced the opacity of my hair here. So you're kind of seeing that noise come through from my hair. So if I, for example, this was set to 55, right? See, this kind of adds back that volume in my hair, and now that problem, little bit, is okay. That's going to happen because we do not have an absolutely perfect light up. We're manipulating things. Okay, that's okay. This much, trust me, when I add the background, it won't really cause a lot of issues. Okay, but you can see, I can even, if I wanted to reduce this, I can actually increase the shadows also, but then that's going to disturb our other keying also. But do pay a close attention to your hair. So if just pedestal does the job for you, that's fine. Maybe you can say I can take this down to 50. Okay, because remember, we are only concentrating on this area around our body. It really even doesn't matter if this part goes wrong. Okay, so let me just try 53 also. I don't want to mess up with my hair. And I think this is also fine. Because what I'm going to do now is the next most important step in this process, which is I'm going to be telling Premiere Pro, listen, I don't need all these things on the sides. Okay, I'm doing this on a budget. I'm just going to keep the good area, the good keying, the black one. Okay, here, by just cropping this video. How do we do that? Let's see. So in order to crop your video, okay, around your body parts, what you can do here is that, first of all, if you go to effects back here, where we selected ultra freeform, if I just search here for crop, first of all, we have a crop tool here. So you'll find it under video effects, transform, and crop. If I drag it here, I'll just be able to crop this video around my body, just like how you're used to cropping an image, okay? But the problem is, if you add, anytime you add an effect, which is like an external effect, which is not a part of the video's properties, it just might increase the lag on your videos, because there's always anyway a lot of things going on here, right? So a better way to do this is to simply use the inbuilt opacity function that comes, or the property that comes with the video. Okay, so make sure your video is selected, and then here, if you click on opacity, we can achieve the same function here, because what we can do is we can use this pen tool, which is called the free draw, okay, tool. I can just take this pen, and if I start drawing a figure around my body, what's going to basically happen is, we're telling, you can see the moment I clicked on it, Premiere Pro creates a mask. Okay, what mask means is that if I were to draw this, Premiere Pro will just consider whatever is inside it to be what is required. Anything that is outside will automatically get cropped. That means its opacity will basically not be considered. So if you remove the opacity of something, what is opacity? The word comes from opaque, right? So if something is not opaque, it's simply going to disappear, basically, right? So what we're telling now is, we're going to start drawing with this pen, and how you draw with this pen is just simply start clicking like this. Okay, so we're telling Premiere Pro, just we want this part. And remember now, this is the part where I made a very important point in the videos when we were shooting, that do not move your body too much. Do not have the hand movement of your body too much. because if it goes outside this area, it's going to appear cropped in our ultimate video, okay? But the benefits of this are great. It's much better than those expressive capabilities that we lose. The reason for that is we are able to work even with the budget light setup. We are able to get a perfect lighting scenario that like you're going to be seeing. So not this close also. You can also anytime, oops, press delete. You can also kind of adjust this by moving it here, by moving it here. Okay, try to at least get a rough figure here. Okay, so maybe just drag it here and then just close it. Okay, now it does not matter if this doesn't have to be perfect. We'll anyway scale this a bit, move this a bit. So I'm going to disappear down. Okay, but you can see the moment I did that, the outside area has been ignored by Premiere Pro. Okay, so this automatically becomes black because everything just gets deleted. So we don't even need the keying for this. It just got deleted on its own, and that is just going to be black because there's nothing there. And in this part, inside part, we have got the keying perfect, which has been deleted. This is the part which we have done using Ultra Key. And this is the part which we've done using the opacity function. So combination of both is just the only thing we have to just make sure is they are equally black. There should be no gray part here and then black. Well, that means our keying was not perfect. Okay, this is obviously going to be black. This is just the opacity function. But this inside part is important to us. Okay, so, and you can actually see this. If I turn off the Ultra Key function, you'll actually just see a green part here. So we're actually literally working with this amount of video. The rest has been deleted. Okay, and if I turn this on, this also gets deleted. Now I can click anywhere here. It'll just get rid of those things. If I want to adjust that anytime that maybe you felt that you selected something wrongly or your body is slightly, you needed more space, you can always go back to opacity, click on this mask, and then increase its anytime. This is fully under your control. This is a non-destructive way of doing things. Okay, and now all I have to do is make sure, just click anywhere to get rid of this, anywhere, and then switch on my background, and boom. Now the only problem we're having right now in this is we've got a good looking key. Okay, I'm just kind of floating a bit, if you notice here, right? Because we've cropped things from here. But that's okay, because what I can do is now I can actually do a lot of things. So if I just close this a bit, select our video here, and then I can either scale this like this, okay? Make me smaller also. Maybe I want this floating look. You can literally do anything because we've got this whole part cut out nicely, right? So let's say I can do this, and I just don't want, I'm happy with this much size, let's say, but I don't want this floating look to be there. Then this is your x-axis in the position, this is your x-axis, and this is your y-axis. So what I can do is on the y-axis, I can just change its position like this. Till the time it's just that I touch the bottom. Boom. Okay, let's run our video. Let's see. Yeah, it's coming a bit slow, so don't worry about that because we have done so many things here. There's a bit of lag coming. I can also in this program monitor, this is also one tip you should know. Right now it's playing this video back at its full resolution. But if I just wanted to quickly see, I can even set it to 1/4 of the resolution. So that puts less amount of stress on your system. Okay, so the quality will look bad here, but this is not what we're going to get. We're going to get the ultimate quality will be determined when we export this video. This is just a playback. So we're just kind of to save on our processing power for our laptop. We're just playing this back at a lesser power. Okay, very, very important feature when in normal editing also. You can see this keying looks fine, but let's turn it back to full so that we can actually see. Right, what we're seeing is that, yeah, is it looking decent? That's fine. Okay, I can also do other things now. Now that we've got our keying perfect, I can, if I want, I can move this around. Let's say this was perfect, but let's say I can also move this on the x-axis. I can actually, so we're starting to just get some serious lag here. So just bear with me. But the point is, I can move myself on to the right. I can move myself on the left. Now this is my canvas. I can have myself anywhere. Okay, so you can see that with just some adjustments, okay, Ultra Key makes it really, really easy to have these videos. Now, right now, I'm not going to export this video because we still have 2 more videos to edit. So I'm going to quickly edit those videos also using similar strategies, facing more challenges. And then ultimately for the final video, I'll also show you how to export it into a proper video. So for now, let's go on to our next video.